Hi, everyone. Good day. My name is Raf, and I'm here to talk about regenerative travel. So, if you'll allow me, I'd like to share my screen so that uh, we can chat a bit more about this topic that is very, very relevant, very important. In fact, we actually just presented this to the Secretary of Tourism, May 2023. So one thing that I'd like to share is this story. It's a story about indigenous people talking about a dam being built in their land, right? So it says here that for us indigenous people, we want progress, but the progress that you speak of, he was talking to the dam builder and the development company, is different from the meaning of progress for us indigenous people. For us, progress means taking care of our bodies of water and our land, right? And this kind of perspective, taking care of land and sea, is not very common in businesses, but it is the norm for indigenous groups, right? And so this brings me to our pillars of sustainable and regenerative economy, right? Which we can apply to the travel industry. So it consists of community, so people, right? Nature, planet, the economy, so it must be profitable for it to be sustainable, and your personal well-being, meaning you as the doer must not be a martyr, right? When you have all these together, then it's sustainable. And if we can push it further, if we can make it so that it grows the economy, encourages and makes culture thrive, or that it builds the environment and restores it or makes you healthier, that's regenerative, right? And so I'd like to share some stories around that. This is me surfing. I like to surf within Siargao, right? And my love for surfing was born in La Union, where I currently have a surf hostel called the Circle Hostel. It's being renovated as we speak to get upgraded. Um, but a couple of years ago, um, one of my friends, Paulo Soler, who is a surf instructor, internationally accredited, posted this picture. And in this picture, he's surfing in a wave of trash, which was very disturbing, right? And what we found out is that there was so much waste around that you get rivers like this, right? This is very, very disturbing, right? The images, so much waste. And so that plastic trash was bad for tourism. It was bad for fishing, right? It's bad for surfing. Right? And what happened even more was that the plastic started to make its way into the belly of the things we eat. So if you like yellowfin tuna, well, this fish has plastic basura inside its belly. So it's pretty disgusting. We are eating our trash, and even our best international sites have plastic in them. What brands are these, right? What brands are these? I'm sure you've seen them before. Some of you may have tried it, right? We need to change our behavior in terms of how we throw things, right? And basically, what we found over the years is that plastic trash makes food more expensive because it kills fish, creates less food because plastic also poisons corals, right? It creates less income for fishermen, and of course, it's bad for tourism. Tourists don't like to go to a dirty beach, and it means we have less clean playgrounds, right? And this is rooted in our behavior or mindset towards plastic. In this photo, everyone dined in, and yet everyone who dined in with a red circle used takeout cups. Why do you use takeout cups when you dine in? I do not understand why we add trash, but that's how we are at the moment. You and I have to make some changes, right? And so there are some solutions that I'd like to show, right, in terms of plastic, and one of them is recycling, right? So you can use trash and turn it into something strong, right? And so when you're when you're traveling, the plastic waste, please throw it in the right place so that it can be recycled, right? And this short video will show you what it can be recycled to.
Kailangan po magpulot ng basura para po hindi na po maging sanay ng mga pagbaha po. Yung basura po pwede maging bahay. Nakakatulong pa po tayo sa ating kalikasan.
So this is just one of many solutions that you can use, right? There are many ways to use it, and it can be used to build, no? And what's great is that using technology, we can now build cement blocks with partial plastic, about 7% plastic, and they'll be stronger than the standard hollow block, right? So you see, those are standard hollow blocks. This is the eco brick. Right? Look at how it's being dropped. That's Nadine Luster's boyfriend, if you're curious. Very strong item, right? So, just to reiterate, right? Pacquiao's punch is 800 psi. These bricks can withstand 800 psi or pounds per square inch. Wind is 300 kph, right? And the standard hollow block is only 170 psi. So the wind will kill it, right? Apart from this, as we travel, we use a lot of plastic in the process because it's convenient when we travel. But you have to remember that every piece of plastic that we use means it produces 3 times the amount of carbon. That's driving the global boiling temperatures. It's so hot these days, and that's part of it. Climate change, one of the drivers is the unlimited use of plastic, which we need to curb and change. So for perspective, globally, we produce 51 billion tons of CO2 per year. And the Paris Climate Treaty in 2015 set a goal of 0 carbon emissions. So my question for you, what is the annual carbon footprint produced of the average Filipino? Is it 1.27, 20.44, or 40.53, right? Put an emoticon in the chat based on your preferred answer. And if your answer is 1.27, you're correct. 1.27 Filipino, 20 is American, and 40 is Middle Eastern. Right? We don't produce a lot. So again, if you want to fight climate change, meaning hotter days, stronger rain, bigger storms, longer drought, if you don't like those, then reduce carbon, reduce plastic. Right? And let's push for a more circular economy, right? When we're traveling, dispose of your waste properly. This is just an example of how waste can be segregated, right? This company in particular, Greenhouse, has about 30 plus hubs across the country, so that's a good thing. Again, there are other options that you can use. These are the kinds of plastic that are accepted. Take note that the plastic must be clean and dry because it is a raw material for building something, right? And you must segregate as much as possible, right? Here's an example of a segregation setup at home, right? Plastic is different from everything else. And there are drop-off points across the city. And there are some in the countryside as well, right? Here's what your plastic trash can turn into. Again, it's only 7% plastic for every brick, right? The rest is cement. And you can, 9%. And you can build a lot of things with it. Walkways. And there are laws now that will help make companies who use a lot of plastic more responsible for cleaning it up. That said, you and I still need to clean it up. This is the EPR law, right? Now, another thing about regenerative travel is that you need a lot of education so that people can do it properly, right? And so some of my friends and I launched a campaign to try to make this mindset of reducing plastic waste, of segregating it properly more popular. Here's our BBC feature about that.
When I talk to people in poor communities, they think that a plastic wrapper for biscuits is the same as a banana peel.
So I won't finish it, but safe to say that we tried to reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? We tried going with Miss Earth on public school tours, right? A lot of policies were changed when we were able to explain to people why plastic is not the best item to use regularly, right? Schools changed it, corporations changed it, and even indigenous people who we work with in travel programs have said, we will keep our rivers clean in the mountain so that you can keep the seaside clean. We will do our part, right? This was the elder and vice chieftain at Erlinda in a talk during the International Coastal Cleanup in Subic. She was explaining their commitment as a community as well, right? And here are just some examples, because when you travel, you're always eating on the go, right? Plastic packaging, not good. Compostable packaging, better. But the best is reusable packaging. Or just dine in, guys. No, relax. There are other policies as well that have been changed. So there are laws and municipal ordinances. There are also plastic bag bans that you can use. Huh? This resort in particular was very creative, giving rewards to people who cleaned up, right? And then, of course, I'd like to share with you, refillable is more profitable than disposable. It's more profitable and it's less expensive in the future when you're cleaning things up. So we were spreading this message, but we couldn't spread it fast enough, right? And so we wanted to communicate better ideas like this, quality over quantity, right? Or bringing out the takeout kit, right? Or how to recycle. This video is pretty cute, right? Or setting up your own composting program as well. So, talks weren't enough. And so we thought, well, what's a creative way to tell a story about plastic, right? And the one thing that we thought of was, if we can make things interactive for everyone, right? So this is an interactive sample, right? If you're going on a surf trip, what kind of water and snack do I bring, right? Do you bring a reusable Tupperware? Do you bring a bread in a disposable plastic pack and bottled water, or do you dine in a restaurant, right? They're choices, because you want to show people that they have a choice in the plastic issue, right? And you want people to be able to simulate asking questions, huh? So gamifying it, right? And then so we have developed a interactive film that allows you to interact with different people so that you can understand how the environment and people come together in the countryside, right? So you can deal with people who, you can ask someone, how do you deal with people who throw waste? You can also ask them about how it affects the fishing industry, right? This is a personal and educational program that we hope captures the heart while feeding the mind with the right information. No? We'll also talk about animals as well, right? It's currently being filmed and produced by a good friend, Adrian Delic, who was an Oscar-nominated director, right? We hope that it goes well. No? After these interactive educational tools, we also have tour programs that are very interactive, right? So these tours bring you to communities. This is the actual travel this time, right? And when we travel, we try to make the programs in such a way that one, there's zero waste. Two, they promote using native materials, right? And that they also protect the forest, right? So we've lost most of our forests in the Philippines. 3% left in 2016 versus 70% 100 over 100 years ago. Globally, it's about 50% deforestation. So we're actually advanced as the Philippines, right? And without trees, it gets a lot hotter, right? Look at the temperature difference on the top and bottom. And one of the challenges is that there's drought, there's extreme heat, right? Killing the world's crops. We're suffering in the city because food gets more expensive. There's less water in the countryside. Some rivers have lost 75% of their water. And so what happens? It gets more expensive to produce rice. Us in the city, again, we have a hard time. So when you're traveling, these things are things that we hope you are mindful of and you learn about, right? Every tree can absorb up to 2,000 liters of water in its root system, right? And so recently we had the flooding in Bulacan and Pampanga. Well, that's because there are no more trees in the Central Luzon plains and in the Sierra Madre facing Central Luzon and partially in the Cordillera as well, right? And so storms they are stronger. That's why we need much more trees to absorb the water, right? And I'd like to share with you a quick video of how a forest prevents a flood, right? So if you look here, you'll see there are two boxes, right? The box on your right has plants and they're watering it. The box on your left has no plants and they're watering it. The box on your left has water flowing out very quickly from the top. That's a landslide. That's a flash flood. That's a topsoil, the healthiest soil where all the fertilizer is. Whoever's planting in that left box after, you need to apply new fertilizer. Whereas on the right, look, the water is coming out very slowly at the bottom. And that's a river, that's a waterfalls. That's very clean water that we can enjoy. That's natural flood control, right? Just look at the volume of water on the left versus the right. It's different, you know? And this is what we want people to understand, right? And so we take people on a tour to the communities that steward and take care of these places, right? And part of that tour is you contributing and planting with them. Here are results from the last couple of years.
That area, so that we can we're going to start planting that area over there, hopefully over there.
Yeah. So planting for the environment is
We're headed here.
important, but we also plant for the economy, and that's where regenerative travel can help, especially if you understand regenerative agroforestry. So there we go, right? Being able to plant and just grow the economy, right? And so communities are important, and we love our travel to communities, the Aitas, the Dumagat, because communities are part of the solution. They make the seaweed for bioplastic. They make the cassava for cassava bags, right, that are biodegradable. And bringing people to see recycling in person can really show you that there is hope to clean up our planet, right? And this one example, University of Sydney, they learned about circularity. They went island hopping, saw the dirty beaches. They went to the tribe, helped restore the forest. They went to recycling centers, helped pick up trash and recycle it. It's something that we can all do, right? This one, British School Manila, hands-on sustainability, measuring water quality with us for rivers, right? And so again, we're super thankful for this program. We've got more in the pipeline, and we hope you can join some of our regenerative or circular tours as well, right? One thing I'd like to leave you with as food for thought is that Earth Overshoot Day was recently, July 27. This is the day that the world uses more resources than it produces, right? The last time that Earth Overshoot Day was in December was in the 1960s, 70s, right? Today we use more than one Earth worth of resources every year. This needs to change, right? Sustainability is good. So if you can be sustainable, please be. But regenerative is better, and we really need it. Our forest needs it. Um, we've got a waste issue. We need to fix that as well, right? So let's build, let's tell stories, let's show examples, and let's replicate and get people involved, right? And so with that, thank you. I hope you can follow our Instagram and our Facebook. It's Mad Travel or Mad Travel _ PH. We also have a TikTok. I forgot to put it here, right? If you want to follow me, mine is Raf Dionisio. I'm gonna just put it in the chat here as well, right? If you want to follow me personally, I post a lot about educational programs, right? And just things that I find interesting. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity, and have a great day. Never stop learning, everyone.